Welcome to Unleashing Happiness with Cecilia Hendricks. This is a podcast where you get to learn the ways to truly change your mindset, change your life habits, and it actually creates life changes for you. You truly have the ability and the capability within you to live a life that is really aligned to the type of life that you want, to have joy in your everyday, to be able to take care of yourself and look in the mirror and truly love what you see, even though you will still recognize your own flaws. Like I can still look in the mirror and recognize flaws with myself, things that I want to improve on, both spiritually, mentally, and physically, but I still love what I see in the mirror. I still respect the person that I am, and you're fully capable of living a life in that same type of manner where you truly love yourself. You are enjoying the life that you have, and you're happy that you're here, and you see these moments as more of things that you're able to do, that you get to do, versus things that you have to do. It's all about shifting your perspective, reconsidering the identity that you're holding on to, and the way that you're presenting yourself mainly to yourself, because the way that you present yourself to you is the way that the world is going to reflect back to you. And a lot of times it's hard to get started by shifting your focus to you and how you're feeling internally, but it's truly the quickest and really the only way to see these external conditions change that you're hoping to have change. And these external conditions will be all across your life. It'll be any romantic relationships that you have now, the romantic relationships that present themselves to you as you're like working through this journey and through this process. It will also be your relationships with like coworkers, your boss, really anybody that you run into. You're going to start to notice a different kind of behavior towards you. And you're going to start to notice that your perception of people's behavior shifts. And what I mean by that is like if someone treats me a certain way now, I've worked so much on my own personal internal feelings and the way that I think about myself and the way that I talk to myself and the way that I view myself, that if somebody acts a certain way towards me that is not conducive to the way that I want to be treated, I don't see it as like a thing about me anymore. I see it as a thing about them. This is a reflection of what they're going through in their lives. And even though I'm a follower of Neville Goddard, I still believe that each of us are our own person. I have not fallen into, and I don't believe that Neville teaches that you're really the only person here and that there's no one else but you and you can just do whatever you want because nobody else matters and they're all NPCs. I don't believe that. I don't think this is the way it works. I think we are all fragments of God and we're experiencing life as these fragments. And I think it's for some sort of learning type of experiment, but I don't know anything beyond that, to be honest. But I also do believe that other people are just as real as I am. Their feelings matter just as much as mine do. And the forgiveness that comes from me towards others with the way that they behave is because I respect and accept the position that they're in right now. I can still send somebody love and send somebody caring and be concerned about their well-being, even if I need to distance myself from them because of whatever position they're in. They're not treating me in a way that I really deserve to be treated or that I want to be treated by my friends or let's say a romantic partner or anybody else really out there. And a lot of that starts with the way that you treat yourself. If you treat yourself with the utmost respect, you identify what your values are, and you realize that the way that you behave each day, you want to be reflective of your values. And so my values are strongly rooted in forgiveness and in love and in peace. And I want to make sure that my behaviors, the habits, the routines, the things that I'm doing are aligned with somebody who has those type of values, because that's how I see myself. And this is all about shaping your identity and making sure that the state that you're in is aligned to the person that you want to be, the type of values you want to hold, the way you want to see your life, the things that you want to have come into your life. Those are the ways that you set this up, by identifying your values and making sure that your daily habits and routines are aligned to that person. And the topic for today is going back to self-care. So self-care actually has much more meaning to it, physically doing things for yourself, like getting massages or doing face masks. And that type of self-care is very important as well. I think it's important to romanticize your life and to enjoy the things that you're doing. That's why I'm always promoting that you have daily joys in your day and that you're doing these things and focusing on yourself and enjoying the moments that you have so that you're taking care of your soul. You're taking care of yourself. You are giving yourself love regardless of how maybe you're feeling at the moment. You can actually get up and do a daily joy and give yourself that moment of joy and of happiness. And that is a huge form of self-care. Other forms of self-care are having really high standards for yourself. So really pushing yourself past your comfort levels and your comfort zones so that you can make sure that you are achieving the things in life that you want to achieve, that you're reaching the things and doing the things in this life that you really want to do. And that's important to you. And that can be career aspirations, that can be relationships, that can be seeing the world. It actually is very encompassing, but pushing yourself past your comfort level and pushing yourself into the unknown and having the courage to do things that you don't know how it's going to turn out and you don't know what it's going to look like on the other side is a really nice, beautiful way to have some self-care and to care for yourself and to love yourself and to really elevate the concept that you're holding of yourself and the identity that you have. And then the final one that we'll touch on in this episode is the self-care and the self-love of having healthy boundaries and not using boundaries or saying this is a boundary of mine to either control another person or to avoid having feelings that you don't really want to address or you don't want to face. So there is a difference between having a boundary and trying to control somebody. And part of that too is having a boundary, but not creating a hateful feeling towards somebody or being upset with them or not allowing them the grace to be in the position that they're in and not provide them some understanding for maybe the way that they are behaving. Like you can understand somebody, you can understand how they ended up in the position that they're in, but still have a boundary that you're no longer going to remain in that type of environment or that type of relationship because of the way that they're treating you. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the episode. So I wanted to start with the romanticizing your life form of self-care. One of the greatest things you can do is add these daily joys to your day. So if you're new to my channel, or if you really need the reminder, which I often still do, a daily joy is a list that you make of things that you like doing. They're usually relatively small items, but they can definitely be bigger. But you do this list of things that you enjoy. And then each day you pick one to, honestly, however many of these things and that you are going to consciously do throughout the day to give yourself joy. And part of that is becoming really present in that moment that you're doing it to say, I'm doing this to give myself joy. I'm doing this to give myself love. I'm doing this because I want a moment in my day that I really enjoy and that I feel good about what I'm doing for myself. So one of those may be like, I love my morning cup of coffee. The first one that I make is honestly always the best. And so I make sure that I sit and I really enjoy that cup of coffee. I usually don't do anything else while I'm having that cup of coffee. I relish in the fact that I have it. I smell it. I feel the heat. I take a drink. I slowly enjoy having this first cup of coffee because none of the other cups taste as good as that first one. Oftentimes I'll sit with just a stupid, silly grin on my face thinking, this is so wonderful. I'm in my beautiful home. The weather outside is going to be absolutely gorgeous. The sun is starting to come up and I have this amazing cup of coffee with me and I just absolutely love it. My dog is asleep at my feet almost at all times and it just feels good. It is like such an amazing way to start my day. So some of the other ones that I have is like, I really enjoy playing pickleball. So I'll go play pickleball with my kids or my husband. And that is something that I really enjoy doing. And so I'll take note that I'm doing this because I enjoy it. I'm doing it because I like being outside. I like doing something active with my body. I like doing these things and I'm doing it for me. It's like a gift that I'm giving to myself. Some other ones that I have on my list are like taking a bubble bath or getting like a bath bomb. There's this bath bomb at Lush that is this little cow rainbow bath bomb that I'm just obsessed with. It, for one, looks so cute when it is in your tub, and it doesn't turn the bath water a weird color, and it doesn't leave too much glitter. If you use bath bombs from Lush, a lot of them, as much as I love them, heavily glittery, sometimes the glitter is like too much, and what it does to my bathtub, I don't like cleaning it after. So I've tried to find some that are not overly glittery, and this little cow is definitely it. And as a side note, I also really love cows. I find them adorable. And so having like a cow rainbow bath bomb is about the epitome of cute that I can have for a bath bomb. And it's like rainbow colored and the smell is phenomenal. So taking a bath with like one of those bath bombs is definitely a joy of mine. If you can't tell with the way that I just went off for like 2 minutes about a cow bath bomb. And actually, some of these favorite things of mine for self-care, I'm going to go ahead and put links in the show notes. So if you would like to check those out or add them to your daily joys, by all means, the links are below. I have no affiliate links. I don't make anything off of these. I just want to share my kind of self-care favorites. So like I'll put the link to the cow bath bomb down below. So some other things that you can do on your daily list of joys is like taking a walk out in the sunshine, reading a book, watching a movie that you've wanted to watch, making yourself your favorite type of food. But anything that you can say, I really enjoy this. This is something that I like doing. Putting hobbies on that you have not done in a long time is also phenomenal. I had a gentleman once tell me that when he did his list of joys, it reminded him how much he loved to play the guitar, and he had not done it for years. And so he took his guitar down off the wall and like played guitar for a while. And he was like, wow, that like really brightened my day. Even if you only do it for like 5 to 15 minutes, it's something that you're doing for yourself. And that is truly giving yourself this form of love to do something for you, to carve out some time to say, I'm going to do this for myself and I'm really going to enjoy it while I'm doing it. So again, one of the best ways to really add to your self-care and physical things you can do is to write out a list of daily joys and then spend some time doing 1 to 10 of those, however many you want to do each day, and pay attention to how you feel. Like really become present in that moment while you're doing it. And I just want to add that if you are currently in a position that even getting out of bed in the morning is difficult, I really love the Mel Robbins countdown where she does like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you just get up and do it. And what I would do is combine that with a daily joy. So you have your countdown, and then let's say that you have decided that today for yourself, you're going to brush your teeth. So you'll do your countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, jump out of bed, go brush your teeth. And all I want you to do is tell yourself, I did that for me. It feels good to have my teeth brushed. I got out of bed, even if it was only for a couple minutes, and I went and did this thing for myself. And it can be about anything. You can get out of bed and get up and go put in a load of laundry. If you're feeling overwhelmed with work, you can take 5 minutes to go walk outside and get some fresh air. There are things that you can do to slowly start building up, but the more that you recognize the small wins that you've done for yourself and really give yourself kind of a pat on the back, like I'm doing this for me, the more success you're going to have because it's going to start to build for you. A lot of these habits that we do, they're like a domino effect. So as you continue to do them, you kind of build on top of them, sometimes without even noticing. So you can do things like habit stacking. Like you can say, when I'm doing X, which is a current habit, I'm also going to include Y, which is like a new habit. One that I like is, while my coffee is brewing, you may notice I've got kind of a coffee thing going on, but while my coffee is brewing, I am going to unload my dishwasher. Or while my coffee is brewing, I'm going to do self-love affirmations. Or while my coffee is brewing, I'm going to do squats. Like whatever aligns to this person that you want to be, you can stack those items. And then that way you're building these habits and it kind of just starts to spiral, right? It starts to build on itself. The same way that you can spiral in like a negative thought or not feeling good about the things that you're doing, you can spiral in a good thought as well. You can spiral in, saying that you're going to do things for yourself, or doing a daily joy, or adding some pieces to your life that just feel a little bit better. Like using a cow bath bomb just because it makes you smile every time you use it and it smells nice. And there's some really nice ways to also romanticize your life. You can start drinking your coffee out of a little bit of a fancier cup, or have your water in a fancier cup. I bought these like cups from Amazon that are really cool. I'll put a link to those down below as well. But these cups to Amazon, or from Amazon, that they just look a little bit fancier. And I don't know, I like having my smoothie out of them, and I like drinking my water out of them because it's just a little fancy something that I've added to my day and it feels nice. Some other things you can do that I personally think are a form of self-love, giving yourself love and taking care of yourself, is starting to pay attention to the way that you walk into a room or that you just walk down the street. So I really started to do this a while ago, and I think it's made a huge difference in just the way that I'm viewed, the way that people talk to me, and the way that people treat me. I walk with my shoulders back. I keep my head up. I do not enter many rooms on my phone. My phone is away. And let me tell you, I'm actually kind of an extrovert, but I also get really uncomfortable if I don't know anybody and I'm by myself. I don't do the best in situations that I don't know anybody, but I still am like, forget it. Fake it till you make it. I'm going to be confident. I am going to pull my shoulders back. I'm going to put my phone away, and I'm going to walk into a room like I'm completely confident. And that's also how I walk down the street. And I'm telling you, like, it's amazing the difference that you'll start to see in the way that people start to treat you. And I've noticed this as a woman that considers herself attractive. I was never overly confident in myself. When I was probably in early middle school, I kind of felt like, maybe I was growing into myself, having my little glow up. I hit 8th grade and was like horrifically bullied. I mean, consistently horrifically bullied by boys in my class. And that really affected a lot of the way that I viewed myself. I became a very quiet shell of a person, and I was always pretty shy growing up as a kid. I was very quiet, as kind of the don't speak unless spoken to kind of kid. So then I hit high school, and people started to notice me a little bit more, and I started to feel a little bit more pretty kind of in my own skin, but nothing crazy. Fast forward to my early 20s, and I started a job, and all of a sudden at this new job, I was very noticed. And I mean very noticed for like my looks. And I realized though that the more that this happened at this job, the more I was starting to be treated outside of this job. So like when I went out in the evening, if I went to bars, like the treatment that I was getting was definitely different than what I had experienced before. And I didn't know anything about this mindset stuff, so I didn't really consider this at the time. So then I ended up having a couple more children, and I felt relatively overweight. And I went through a period of life, probably in my 30s, that I once again did not feel overly attractive. I didn't feel like I was extremely unattractive, but I didn't feel overly attractive. And then I had kind of some key moments in life that really shifted the way that I saw myself. And even though I'm the same weight that I was before, I look at myself completely different. And I feel like the treatment that I get from others is completely different now. And I realize it's because of my mindset. It's the way that I walk into a room. It's the way that I carry myself. And it's the way that I view myself. It's not to say that I also am not able to recognize ridiculously confident person, like to the point of being egotistical. I still recognize beauty in a lot more areas of life than I ever did before. So I'm able to see the beauty in others and the beauty kind of in the world much more than I was able to before. But I also see it in myself now. And because of the way that I carry myself, the way that I treat myself, and the way that I view myself, the world is completely reflecting that back to me. And that's kind of my look back on life of how I can see that truly the way that I talk to myself and the way that I naturally view myself, not a forced, not an attempt to see myself, but the actual way that I see myself internally is completely reflected back to me. I've watched it throughout the years. There's nothing about my looks that have truly changed. I've grown up, I've maybe shifted slightly, but otherwise I'm still the same person. Like I said, I'm still the same weight that I was. But the treatment that I get is different because of the way that I treat myself. Some other great ways that I have personally romanticized my life is that I changed some of the lighting that was in my room. So I wanted to have really soft lighting before I went to bed. One, it helps me get better sleep, but then two, it just makes the room feel a little bit more cozy and nice. And then on top of that, I made my bed like the most comfortable thing you could ever get into. So I have a few different mattress pads that I have on there. I've got a really thick blanket that I really enjoy. And I made sure that my bed was something that I felt good getting into every day. And that's why it's also important to me to make the bed, because when I get into a made bed, I just feel better overall. And so for me, that's a way of romanticizing my life. And that's a way of feeling good and doing something for me. I know this is something that I enjoy, so I'm going to give that to myself. And of course, you can do this in many different ways across many different options that you have in life, as far as like cups that you want to drink out of. If you want to have like a really fancy satin robe, I know my daughter has that and she loves having that on at home. I bought myself, kind of like these little cute headbands so that when I'm washing my face at night, I look really cute. I've got my little headband in. I'll actually post a picture tonight of myself in that headband so everybody can see. So I'll get my face washed and then I'll post a picture in this headband because I just think they're adorable and it's fun. And it also then comes with these like little wrist things so I don't get water that like runs down my arm. So it's like the little things in life that I definitely appreciate, and not having water run down my arm while I'm washing my face is one of those little things. So those are a few different ways that you can kind of romanticize your life and start to take care of yourself. A lot of those are going to be around like physical things that you do for yourself. So, adding kind of things that are daily joys, taking a bit more care of yourself. And then the next one we're going to talk about is pushing your boundaries. So we're all going to find limits to our comfort zones. And a lot of times when you're making these identity shifts, there's going to come a point where your mind is almost going to be screaming at you because it wants to fall back into what is known. Even if what is known is not wanted, it's still what is familiar, and familiar is comfortable. And so your mind is going to want you to stay there, and your body is going to say, no, this is what we do at this time. So if you're changing your morning routine, you're going to have a lot of mornings that you wake up that your mind is like, no, we should just, scroll our phone for an hour instead. Or no, we should just snooze our alarm and not get up until 10 minutes before we have to rush out for work. And the key is having enough self-respect and love for yourself to say, nope, I'm going to do this. I'm going to set up my environment so that I'm able to be the most successful that I can be. And I'm really going to push past this comfort level that I found myself in so that I can expand and have a life that I enjoy more than maybe I'm enjoying my life now. And remember, you can have key areas of your life that you do enjoy. This does not mean that you have to be someone who's unable to get out of bed and is struggling with depressive episodes. You could be someone who is happy in 9 areas in your life, and then in the 10th, you're looking for some changes. And those changes are still going to come with an identity change, with a state change, and with you shifting your habits and your routines to be more aligned with the person that you want to be or this outcome that you want to have in this like 10th area of life. And part of pushing yourself is keeping promises to yourself. This is something that I really struggled with, is that I would say I was going to do something and then I wouldn't do it. Well, it became such a habit that it was so easy for me to just brush off what I said I was going to do. So I had to really start building the identity and the value that when I tell myself I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. and I'm going to make sure that it happens. And one of the things that really helped me with that was getting a habit tracker. So I bought one off of Amazon. I'll put a link down below. There's a ton of them. You can find whichever ones you want. I'm actually working on one now. I hope to have it out by the end of this month. So when I get it out, I will definitely share on across my channels, because I'm putting together, my own version of a habit tracker that's got a little bit more meat and information in it. But I bought a great one off Amazon. It is very basic. It's easy to use. But I've made this a habit to go in each night and review the things that I've done. And when I first started it, there was a few that I would not get. And I'd be like, oh, dang it, I forgot that was a habit that I wanted to do every day. And this was something I wanted to start building into my life. And now, though, it's become like where I can mentally go through and make sure, have I done all these things? Have I hit all these points? Because it's important to me to make sure that I do, because I want to keep my promises to myself. If I say I'm going to do something, it's something that I really want to get done, and I want to put focus into it. You will see remarkable change in your life the more that you teach yourself that you can actually rely and trust what you say you're going to do. You have to build this confidence in yourself, because anything that you want to do, you are absolutely more than capable of doing it. But keeping those promises to yourself is really key to building this confidence and building this faith. And then when the hard things come up, you can say, I've already done hard things. I do hard things all the time. I eat hard things for breakfast. I can get this done, no problem, because you've built that trust in yourself that you can do it and you will do it because you said you were going to. And I actually keep the majority of my goals to myself. I tend to share quite a bit with my daughter. She and I talk quite a lot. She's 24 and she's got her own plans and things that she's working towards. And so she and I talk quite a bit. We're very aligned. But other than that, I don't really share much until I'm done. So because I like to really be quiet and get to work and focus just on me until I get it done, and then I can share it with others. And part of that is, to be honest, because I don't want other people's opinions on what I'm doing. I'm getting it done. If I want your opinion, I'll definitely come to you and I'll ask. And that's not to be rude. It's not to say you can never offer your opinion. But I also don't want people to poo-poo on what I'm planning to do. I don't want them to kind of think that it's ridiculous or cast their judgments on it before I've even done it. And a lot of this stuff is going to require me to go beyond my own comfort zone. Like, for example, I had a friend of mine that I used to work with reach out to me, and he sent me a message saying like, oh, I listened to your podcast. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I was immediately embarrassed. Tell me why, because it was a compliment. He was saying he enjoyed it, but I was immediately embarrassed that somebody I knew in real life was listening. And then I realized, well, I want all the people in my real life to listen. One, I think this is fantastic information. It's made a lot of changes in my life, and I think can make a lot of changes in other people's lives. And I want to help those that I'm around. And I want people to know, like, these are the values that I hold, and these are the ways that I'm working on bettering myself. I definitely do not have a, squeaky clean, picture perfect past. And I want people to know, like, you can overcome the things that you have in your past. Your past does not define you. It can help shape you because you can learn lessons from it, but it does not define you, and it certainly will not hold you back. So releasing this fear of judgment of others is such a phenomenal thing to do as well. I actually saw a creator on TikTok just earlier today, either today or yesterday, I can't remember now, but he made the comment about, you may be scared that if you start putting content out there and like maybe you start filming TikToks or you start doing a YouTube channel or a podcast or Instagram or whatever else it is, that people are going to judge you and they might make fun of you. And here's a secret. Some of them are going to. I actually have no doubt that there are some people who have probably talked behind my back about how ridiculous it is that I'm doing this and how silly it is. And sometimes, like, I'm definitely learning how to put out TikTok content and trying to figure out what actually works and how to talk naturally on that platform, because I'm not very good at it yet. And I'm sure that there's some people who have seen it that are like, that is super cringy. What is she doing? She is in her 40s. Because there for a while, I was trying to think, well, people are only concerned about themselves. They're not worried about what I'm doing. And this is what a lot of people kind of said. Don't worry about other people. They're too busy with themselves. They're not even focused on you. I've decided I don't think that's true. And that's okay.
I believe that's true.
It is okay if
but
other
I have
people
also
share
realized
this information.
that
I don't really care. If that's what they want to do, that's fine. Like, their opinion of what I'm doing is not what's important to me. Now, if somebody reaches out to me and wants to say it to me, then at that point I can let them know, unless you have something nice to say to me, I'm just not concerned with listening. But otherwise, I'm not concerned with what they're doing. One of my favorite quotes, and I don't know where it actually came from, but I know I've heard it a few times now, is that unless someone is living the life that I actually want to live, I'm not really concerned with their opinion. And the people that have the life that I want, they actually are the ones saying, don't worry about what people have to say about you. Just keep working, keep doing it. Eventually you'll get it, go for it. And so that's what I want to focus on. And this comes back to another form of self-care, and that's releasing these judgments. You have to make a decision in life of whose opinion matters to you and why it matters to you. So if you find yourself really struggling with being concerned with what other people think and what they might be saying about you, and if they think what you're doing is cringy, really ask if those are people that you are truly, and beyond that, ask, are they living the life that I want to live? Are they doing the things that I want to do with my life? Because you doing anything that is pushing past your comfort zone, you may not be great at it at first. And those things that you actually work hard at getting better at, you're going to feel better about. That's like a whole growth mindset of, this was hard, but I actually did it. This was difficult for me and I was embarrassed, but I went for it. That's courage. Courage is not that you're never afraid. It's that you're afraid and you do it anyways. But this also comes now to our third part of self-care, and that is creating healthy boundaries. So healthy boundaries are going to be something that you set up for yourself. So it is not a way for you to impose like rules or limits to control like a partner or a friend or anything like that. A boundary is a guide for yourself. It's not a tool to manipulate somebody else or to manipulate their behavior. So telling someone like, you can't post that on Instagram, or I'm going to leave you, that's my boundary. No, that's not a boundary. That's a controlling behavior. Telling your spouse that they're not allowed to be friends with a specific person because that is your boundary. And this is not to say, like, let's say the friend is an ex-affair partner. That's a little bit different, but you still would not say like, my boundary is that you can't be friends with them. It would say, within the confines of our relationship, I have a boundary about like who our friends are, and the friends that we want to maintain are friends of our relationship. So there's always friends in a marriage or in any kind of relationship. There's your friends, there's my friends, and there's friends of the relationship. And hopefully a lot of those overlap, where you have a friend who respects your marriage. They respect the fact that you are married. They respect the fact that you have a spouse and that your spouse has feelings and needs, and they're not trying to always kind of push you to do something that you don't want to do. Because a healthy boundary is also feeling comfortable to say no. And remember, no is a complete sentence. You can say, somebody says, do you want to do something? No. You don't have to explain to them why you don't want to do it. You're welcome to, of course. You can say it's not something that I'm comfortable with, or it's not something that I enjoy. I would prefer to spend my time doing this. Like, that's fine. But you can also just say no. You don't have to be responsible also for anyone else's happiness or comfort. But the ability to stand up for your beliefs and values and allow yourself to actually experience your emotions is a great way to have boundaries for yourself. So if you're kind of struggling with like, what is a boundary that's like a healthy boundary or what's an unhealthy boundary, I would actually recommend reaching out to a therapist in your area, because there are some gray lines, right? You want to have boundaries within a relationship for like what you would consider a betrayal or your partner not respecting the trust that you've built in that relationship. But there's a difference between that and controlling a partner by either telling them how they're allowed to spend money, how they're allowed to spend their time, what hobbies they're allowed to engage in. And if you're struggling with that, it's really important that you work with kind of a licensed therapist. There should be plenty in your area so that you can kind of work to identify boundaries within your relationships. And if you're not within a relationship and you're looking for boundaries with friends, it's important to really keep the focus on what makes you feel comfortable versus uncomfortable, but keeping it with yourself. So this is kind of the big key here, is that a boundary is going to be something that you're doing for yourself. It's for you to maintain the way that you feel, the comfort level that you have and what you actually want to do, and be able to experience your emotions and share those emotions. It's also important to make sure that you're not falling back on a boundary. Like I said before, 1, to control a partner. You don't want to do that. That's manipulation. And 2, not to use boundaries as a way to avoid hard conversations. Like, I'm upset and my boundary is that I'm not going to talk to you. Well, you can actually tell somebody, I'm upset right now and I'm going to need about 20 minutes to compose my thoughts, and then we can have this conversation. Or you can say, I'm really upset. I don't like the way that I felt in this situation. And so I would like to calm myself down and talk to you about this tomorrow after I sleep. I don't buy the thing that you should never go to sleep mad. I actually prefer to go to sleep angry and not let it out, because then once I sleep the next day, I have a much more clear mind about the way that I want to talk about something. And on that note, the way that I like to talk about things that, yes, I have learned in therapy, is I feel X way about this situation and I need this. So I can say, I feel unimportant when you don't talk to me or you don't reach out to me when you say that you're going to, and I don't hear from you. And I need you to keep your promises to me. And at this point, I'm not making it about them. I'm making it about the way that I feel. So remember, your healthy boundaries are all within the way that you feel. It's not to manipulate another person, especially a partner, which is kind of the one that I lean on a little bit more, but you don't want to use it to manipulate anyone. And you don't want to use it to avoid or run away from having to feel something, because the more that you try to suppress that, the more likely you are to kind of have a blow up at a later point in time. So I hope you feel like I shared some really great ways for you to improve your self-care, start really giving yourself more love, and then that will start to improve your self-concept. And the more that you improve your self-concept, the more the world will start to reflect it back to you. I hope that you have an absolutely beautiful, beautiful week. Oh, and before I forget, I've actually released my first lesson of my module 2 of my Create a Life You Love course. So it's actually the Habits for Success, Making Sustainable Change. I have a full workbook that I'm giving out completely for free, and the video as well. I'll put the link where you can find that down below and get that sent out to you. So go ahead and sign up. You'll automatically get it into your email. So that link will be below as well. I will be back on Monday with my Mindset Motivation Monday, and then I will see you again next Wednesday. So again, have a beautiful week. I wish you all of the best. And if you have any questions about today's episode, or if there's something that you'd really like me to talk about, if you're watching on YouTube, just go ahead and put it down in the comments. If you're listening on one of the podcast channels, you can send me an email, unleashinghappiness@ceciliahendricks.com.